Hello world, hello Spurs fans. Hotspur hippie here, Paul, doing my first live stream, and I'm honoured to have old Colin here. We've got no viewers yet, but who gives a... I better not swear for a bit. How you going, Colin?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Very proud to be the first, the first member on your show.
Well, you got to start somewhere, haven't you? So I might as well start at the top and then, work my way down.
Beautiful save there. Yes, sir. Yeah. Good time to be a Spurs fan, though, right, mate?
Oh man, I'm getting excited. We might touch on the reasons why I'm getting a little bit excited soon. I think Jacob is coming along from United Spurs of America. Are you mainly on his channel, or do you do your own thing as well, Colin?
Yeah, I have a channel. Talking Ball is the name of it. Unfortunately, right now I don't do content super regularly, but if you just come over and you follow and you hit the notification bell, every time I do go live, you'll know about it.
You kids with your click your likes and subscribes. It feels unnatural to me. It feels like I'm writing with the wrong hand saying all that stuff, but I'm sure we'll get used to it. Anyway, let's have a look at this. Spurs have announced their new kit, and it looks a little like this. What have you got? Any? Did you see the announcement video? You got any first impressions?
So all I've seen is the still images, but I mean, it looks clean. It still has.
Oh, and the first technical fuck up is about to happen. Hello, Colin. I think you're back now. Okay.
Yeah. Apologies if that was on my end, but I was just saying. Yeah, they're clean. They look nice. I don't like the red AIA too much, but that's never going to change. They're paying us truckloads of money. So.
See, this thing I don't get about the red writing. I mean, it's on white, so whatever colour it is, you're going to be able to see it. So why not have it in Tottenham blue? That's the thing I don't get. I don't like having red on the kit.
Yeah, exactly. If the blue of the arms of like the sleeve there was the AIA also, chef's kiss. It'd be beautiful.
Now, I did a quick reaction video to this because I saw the advert and I just thought it looked like a perfume advert instead of like selling a football kit. And I'm just, I don't know. Maybe it's my age or something, but I don't get why. Like, Spurs fans are going to buy the kit anyway, so I don't get why they have to pay some marketing company like a couple of million to faff around and getting these players to just stroll around like they're at the Louvre or something like that instead of selling a football kit. That's just money wasted to me. But Now, one thing I didn't really notice. When I made my reaction, and it's a point a fair few fans have had, and I think it's a valid one, is that we only wear white in Europe or cup games sometimes. So
when's that kit gonna see the light of day?
Or is this it? Is this Spurs telling us that we're going to be playing in all white and no blue shorts?
I didn't even think about that.
Is this like some meagre compensation for the fact we're not in Europe next year? That we're going to just pretend that when we're playing, I don't know, Burnley, that it's really, Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich or something like that?
I didn't even think about it. I don't know. I don't know if it's that. I hope it's not that. I hope it's not that deep. I hope they're not, doing that to us. But I could see Nike getting in the ear of Levy and being like, hey, it'd look better if you guys were in all white. I don't know. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that they did that for the advert, and I'm excited to see what comes of it this season. I guess we'll know preseason match maybe.
Well, what do you think the significance of the stag's head in the background is?
It's another good question.
Oh, maybe that's White Hart. It's a white heart. Of course it is. A heart is a deer. That's a white heart.
Oh, okay.
That's a tiny little nod to the past. Okay. And they had Aussie art dealers, but part of this marketing. So on part of it they had someone. It was Aussie art dealers chiseling out of a block of marble and then you had a 3D printer over here printing it out, and then this genius from this agency came up with the tagline, "A modern classic." Do you get? I don't, it might be a bit clever for you, Colin, but you know, it's because it's old and new. You see.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Gosh. I do. I mean, it does have a nice, simple feel to it. I think that a lot of kids have like too much going on. I do like the simplicity. I'm sure there's some kind of a pattern up close that like I can't see in that image, but
yeah, I couldn't figure out how to get another one up there. Yeah, no, I mean, as far as the top goes, I agree. I quite like it actually because I didn't like the yellow trim round the neck.
Yeah.
The only problem I've seen on close-ups with this one, because it's all white, it kind of looks a bit naff. It sort of looks like, you know, when you have an old T-shirt and it goes a bit skanky and the collar all buggers up. It looks like these come with a pretty buggered up collar.
Hey, they're doing you a favor. That's just Daniel Levy saving you money right there. You don't even have to wear that into it. It just comes straight from the factory. Well, good old Daniel.
But I like there's no stripes and faffing around with it. I do. Well, have you got any favourite kits yourself? That's a pretty snazzy one you're wearing. I think that, who would I have seen wearing that? Who does that remind me of? Is it?
So there's a pretty iconic photo. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. This is going to be really anticlimactic.
That's no one watching, so take your time, man.
Why can't I find it now? But it was that 95, 96 year, or 95, 96.
I'd been like someone like Darren Anderton, maybe.
I think it was Mr. Darren Anderson. Is that who this beautiful bat? What? How many minutes are we? I didn't say the full word, so.
Oh, is that Teddy Sheringham? I think that's Teddy Sheringham.
I'll have to Google it.
He was a cracking player. Like even when we were crap in the 90s, we still had some damn good players knocking around. You know, it's we haven't seen or we had those players that could do that little bit of magic, and I don't know if we've really got any of those at the moment. But maybe they've just been, you know, heavily shackled by 4 years of defensive football. So
I'm so excited and I mean, when I first started watching Spurs, it was under Harry Redknapp.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got in at a good time, a really fun time. Aaron Lennon, Gareth Bale. Aaron Lennon was a lot of fun to watch. I know people would complain that he had no end product, but man, just watching him skin 4 people alive. I mean, he was awesome. He was.
Yeah. No, I was a fan of Aaron Lennon. I think he did well for us. We had a few players. I mean, Jermaine Defoe was all right.
Oh man, yeah. Defoe was way better than Lennon, but a different, you know, like role. But yeah, I mean, I was so happy. We got Jermaine Defoe for a second spell. He's awesome.
Yeah. But you know, we haven't had a chance to see much flair. You know, because our play recently has just been relying on absorbing pressure, and then you eventually get a ball out over the top to Son, Kane, or Kulusevski, and then it's a goal. But there's no carving up the middle anymore, or out from the wing into the middle, back out. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I said no finesse anymore. It's all Mourinho ball, man.
Right. So you started watching it under Redknapp then. So then you had the AVB lean years or lean time, and then Poch. So you're excited with what Poch did with the club? Was he a guy that you wanted back at the club?
I'm not sure it's time. I think maybe he should come back one day, but has it been long enough? Has he achieved enough? Should he go out and learn some more? Maybe. I just think that it's not a bad idea, but I don't think it was the right time. And also, who knows what went on between him and Levy? Maybe they don't get along.
Yeah, well, I think they used to do like skiing holidays or white water rafting, I think it was, together. So they were pretty buddy at some point. I've got a feeling that things started going south for Poch when he wrote that book, because I think he probably, I haven't read it myself, but I do know he said things like when he took over Tottenham, the dressing room was terrible, and he had to fix all the culture. And I don't know if you should be saying that when you're a football manager still doing the job, because there's still people around, even if it's not the players. There's going to be other backroom staff that are around, and I think that puts them down a bit. I don't think managers should be writing tittle-tattle tabloid style books when they're in the job, really.
That's a good point. You make a good point I hadn't really thought of. There has to be a reason, though. I mean, all the fans wanted it. Daniel could hear him. He could hear him during matches. I'm sure they were chanting his name louder than anything. He knew that a lot of fans wanted him back, but there was a reason, had to have been a reason there, because we could have had him for free, no compensation fee to anyone. He knows us. We know his style of football, but instead we chose to go with somebody else. And I think I'm lagging. My bad.
No, I could hear. How do you reckon Poch will get on at Chelsea? Oh, now you're lagging. Here we go. Yay!
Hey. I feel really petty. There's a petty part of me that wants him to fail. But then again, I mean, I don't know. I think they're going to chew him up and spit him out, to be completely honest. I don't want that to be true, but I don't know if he'll have the job for a whole year.
Yeah, I kind of think that Chelsea is a bit of a basket case. I think I just don't think Todd Bowley gets football. He's used to. So he owns, what is it, an NFL, or is it baseball thing, or does he own other shit?
No, I just think he's rich and dumb. Hold on, I'm gonna look him up real quick. American businessman. He he doesn't do anything except have a bunch of money and own like a holding company. Owner of he owns. Never mind, I'm an idiot. He owns the Dodgers, the Lakers, hold on, the Dodgers, the Lakers, the Los Angeles Sparks. Don't know what that is. Cloud9, and don't know what that is. And DraftKings. DraftKings is like a gambling.
Wow.
DraftKings is a gambling site.
Well, I used to do a lot of road trips around the US till a few years ago, and every time I turned my head, DraftKings was being advertised and spruiked. I didn't know they owned the Dodgers though, because the Dodgers haven't had huge amounts of success recently either, have they?
No.
I know the Giants won, a couple almost on the bounce, and the Dodgers were just, nowhere really.
But they're an LA-based team. I bet that's money in and of itself.
Yeah.
Tourists.
So he's come from that. See, I think he's one of these. I'm not saying this is true about all American owners, but he's come from that shielded franchise kind of style of sport where you've got a lot of protection. I mean, you can even move the bloody club to somewhere else in the country if you feel like it. Like, I mean, the Dodgers came from Brooklyn in the first place. So, I mean, he's entered this, this world of European football where if you stuff up, you can lose everything, man. You know, you can go down crashing in flames. And I'm not sure he's realised. You know, some people think that certain clubs are too big to go down, but you know, I mean, Tottenham went down in '77. Leicester's gone down this year after you know, being champions just a few years ago. And I've got a feeling that Chelsea's going to find themselves in a load of trouble because he splashed the cash. And I don't think that team. It's not a team, you know. It's maybe that's a different. Because I mean, I don't watch a lot of NFL or anything like that, but it seems to be a sport because, you know, depending on whether you're attacking or defending, you're changing half the team. That you don't really need as much of that inter-team chemistry, that weird thing that you get in football where the team is more than the sum of the parts. I don't know if that's fair. I'm not saying NFL's crap or anything like that. It's just
I don't
different.
really enjoy it.
No? Oh, it's crap then, isn't it?
It is.
I was trying to be polite, but fuck it.
No, it's the worst. I can't stand it. There's a commercial every 3 minutes or so. You know what I mean? Like, you can't even watch it. It's a bunch of advertising. All you're doing is being advertised to for 3 hours. I guess it's good to like drink and have on in the background, but that's it.
Well, I caught a couple of Dodgers games over there in the baseball, and like, it's a day out experience because the game goes on for fucking hours, man. Yeah. It's quite fun. It's almost got a bit of a cricket vibe to me because you don't have to give it your full attention all the time. You can sort of, you know, just chill out a bit and wait for the ninth innings dramas. You know, have some hot dogs from the Bratzuka and all that. It's more of a day out. Whereas football, I mean, when I used to go, I used to like the intensity of it. It's just pure focus. I think they're distracting away from that by, you know, at certain grounds you can download an app and look in real time at stats on your phone and augmented reality, and I just don't get it. I don't know why you would pay money to go and see sport live and look at your phone. It's like going to a rock concert and videoing it. You know, you're not there in the moment.
Yeah, that's a good comparison too, man. I can't stand those people. There's always tons of them. Tons of them. Any show you go to.
It shits me, man. It shits me. Like, you go, oh, dude, it just kills me because I still like going to concerts and having a go. You know, going up the front. And when there's just clowns standing there with their phone, because they're not even moving, they can't move because they want to keep their phone steady. Yeah. And you know, I feel sorry for the musicians up there trying to, you know, get a bit of feedback and response and create something with the crowd, and they just can't do it. And I think, you know, bloody football's going that way. You know, you can't even swear at a game now. But anyway, this is what you want to talk about, I can tell, man. So let's have a look at this. Now, you tell me, Colin.
Yeah, he looks like a James Bond. He looks like James Bond there. What a badass man. We're past 10 minutes too, so I'm excited.
Oh, he'll come back.
And I'm back.
Hey, an action.
Hey, I'm
Colin.
And go. But no, I mean, I think he's going to be great. I've been excited for him ever since. I mean, I you know, we all got excited for Arne Slot, however you pronounce that guy's name. We all got excited for him. We quickly learned that wasn't going to happen. But as soon as I heard that we were in for Postecoglou, I got excited.
What
about you though? Were you initially excited with the appointment?
I was one of the first, man. March the 22nd was my first tweet saying, "Get this guy in."
Nice, yeah, you were early on it.
Fuck Nagelsmann, fuck Slot, fuck all these other.
The job. Anybody who doesn't want the job, get him out of here. Fuck off. Like, if this isn't seen as like the job that you want more than anything, I don't want you.
That's right, man.
Because Mourinho and Conte both just were like, I need a job, Spurs. Conte told us no once.
Yeah. So When did you start? When did you? Because the reason I've been on the Ange bandwagon because I live in Australia, so I've seen this guy for like 20 years. So I've been really familiar with what he's about, and I followed his career from really from the Australian national team over to Yokohama. Then been watching a fair bit of Celtic while he's been in charge. What made you excited about him, or when did you get excited about Ange? Because I'm guessing you wouldn't have heard of him. You wouldn't know him from the bar of soap.
Right. No, but I have watched those Australia teams that he's coached, and they've been exciting to watch. I didn't know that it was him that was coaching. I also as soon as so one of the first things I did was look him up, and then I look up like interviews because I want to get to know these guys. And I saw there was an interview of him, and he was getting absolutely picked apart by the interviewers, both of them.
Craig Foster.
Yeah, and the other guy wasn't too nice either. But yeah, there was a really good back and forth, and he just defended himself really well. It seems like we finally got somebody like tough with a backbone that's gonna yell at our players. It's gonna make them fight for each other and for themselves. And I don't know, man. I like his philosophy and the way that he treats people, and he's more Poch and Harry Redknapp than he is Conte or Mourinho to me.
Yeah, I remember. I saw that interview live, and
no way.
Yeah. It's about 20 years ago, something like that, maybe a bit longer. And because he'd already had success managing in the, he's kind of had, by other country standards, he's already had the standard managerial career. So, he's done well in the national leagues. He's won a few championships. Then, he's had the honour of coaching Australia. But then that's as far as you can get here, And then that's when he left. But he was coaching the youth team at that time, and the guy interviewing him there, Craig Foster, he was a decent enough footballer, but I think I don't really like his opinions too much. And I remember when he just started hammering the guy, and he was just making shit up as well. He was saying, "Oh, you're throwing the players under the bus." And I was thinking,
and he's like, "No, that's not what I said." He said there weren't enough competitive games played between all the players on my squad. Yeah, that was stupid. The twisting his words, just trying to generate, some buzz.
And
he stood his ground, man.
And what happened when he went from Yokohama and joined Celtic? That interview was pretty much all you could see about Ange Postecoglou, or it had been viewed so many times that if you Googled him, that was the first thing that came up. It's not as he's way further down now, so all the Celtic fans, that would have been their first exposure to Postecoglou. And on the one hand, he stood his own ground, but it's also, well, is he actually any good as a coach if he failed to get? I mean, in fairness to the guy, the Australian youth team, getting them into a couple of youth World Cups is a bloody hard ask. I mean, our youth setup isn't great, and our national league now is not great. So. For an Australian, a Greek Australian, to manage to punch through that ceiling and get into the outside world, there's probably been other coaches that were capable of doing it from Australia, but he was the first guy. He was the one that overcame the odds. So have you watched much of? Have you seen about his style of football? Have you watched any Celtic? Or?
So I have watched a bit of Celtic, and then I watched a couple tactics breakdown videos. Those are always pretty interesting to me, in particular. But yeah, I mean, I watched that championship game of God. Now I sound like a novice, but what competition was that they played in the other day? Inverness? Is that what they were playing?
Oh, Inverness Caledonian Thistle.
Yes, those guys. So I saw that. That wasn't. I don't think it was a great representation because it wasn't a whole. They didn't give him much of a game.
Yeah.
But
when
I saw. Wait, and real quick, I hate to interrupt. Sorry, my bad. But I did see clips of their game against. I think it was Madrid, where they were peppering them with shots. Man, they had a shot off the crossbar. so many times where they literally skinned Real Madrid alive, and had it been any other day, they'd have won that match. So that's the other thing I'd seen from them.
Yeah, I actually had more fun watching Celtic in the Champions League than Tottenham, because Tottenham was such a grind. It was 45 minutes of shit, and then it was 45 minutes, and then we get a goal maybe. Or whereas you're right, and because I've heard people criticise Celtic's performance in the Champions League, because on paper the results weren't too great. But I also watched that Real Madrid game, and I mean, they were so unlucky. They were, it was just fine margins. They had Real Madrid on the back foot, and really it was only when it came to the 60th, 70th minute that Celtic kind of run out of steam, and then Real Madrid showed that they are the higher quality team. But man, if Celtic had put a couple of those chances away, it would have been a very, very different story.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just going to say, it's cool that they didn't play like scared. You know what I mean? They just completely brought their exact same game that they play every week. I respect that.
And that's a lot of the pressure that Ange was under when he was the national team manager, because we're a soccer minnow, so we should play like in the World Cup, for example. We shouldn't be the football administration sides of things. All the stuffed shirts. Their opinion is really, well, just don't go out and embarrass ourselves. Play safe. Play. Just don't go and try and play attacking football, because we haven't got the players to do it. And Ange just said, no, bugger you. That's what we're going to do. And I think he put a lot of smiles on people's faces, and then he qualified for the next World Cup, and he was just sick of it. So he just said, "No, fuck you lot. I'm out of here." So I don't think he's ever been fired. Actually, he might have been fired from the youth setup, but I don't think.
Yeah,
he's been...
I think he did get fired from the youth setup shortly after that interview. I read this the other day, but that's it. Like he's never been fired from the national team.
And it's been fun for me actually to see, because I saw this happen with Celtic fans, and I've seen it happen with Spurs fans. So at first there was a lot of, and I understand this. I'm not slagging people off for this. It's just natural, They'd never heard of the guy, and it's like, well, who's this guy? We're Tottenham Hotspur. We deserve someone of a higher status. I mean, bless him, I mean, we tried the higher status managers, and that.
Right, look where that got us.
I know. It just gave me, like personally, I've not had the best 6 months of my life this year, and the one thing I wanted was just to watch a bit of football and just switch off for 90 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, just forget about all that shit and enjoy stuff. And it was so hard watching them this year.
Unenjoyable.
Oh God. So it's actually been fun for me seeing, sceptical Spurs fans, now that he's been appointed. They've all been going out there and hammering YouTube and looking at how his teams have played and listening to him and what other professionals have said about him. And pretty quickly, this is why I said is momentum heading Ange's way, because I see more and more people every day that are thinking, this could be exactly what Tottenham need at this time.
I just hope everybody is prepared to give him some grace at the beginning. You know what I mean? Like we have to know that there's going to be a couple of maybe big losses, maybe because of the way he goes out and plays. And he's not very flexible on his style and his philosophy. And so if we're not completely up to speed for a game or two, I mean, it might not look great right away, and it might take a couple of matches, and we need to give him that as a fan base.
Well, I think he really has got his work cut out for him, because it's been drummed into our team to be so defensive and so pragmatic and so counter-attacking, playing this 5 at the back bullshit, which I hate. I really hate having 6 players on the pitch trying to stop a goal, and we still let in 62 goals, so that didn't bloody work. But he's going to have to change their whole way of thinking about football, to get them to play, a progressive style. And I noticed something that he's doing. Usually when he goes into clubs, he hasn't brought any coaching staff with him before. And maybe that's because, like when he went into Celtic as a bit of an unknown, maybe it would have been a bit too much to ask for him to bring people along with him. But it means that at the beginning of his time at Celtic, he had to train his coaching staff in the way he wanted things done, and then train the players as well. Whereas I think what he's doing at Tottenham is that it looks like he's going to take two of the Celtic coaches with him. So that's going to, I think, accelerate the process a little bit. But you're exactly right in what you're saying. You know, when you're going to have a team that's going to, because he will get the shits if they fall back on the habits of playing the way they are now. He ain't going to have it. He really isn't going to have it. He's going to shout and bollock them and he's going to
play some kid, chuck some kids in there instead.
Take them off the pitch, and everything. But I think what happened at Celtic is because he had a really bumpy start. He got knocked out of the Champions League qualifiers pretty sharpish. He had a few really dodgy results, but I think it was him as a character engaging with the fans, and I think the fans could also see on the pitch, okay, we're getting our arse handed to us a little bit, but you could see something, you could see the direction that he was heading. And I know I've seen Spurs fans going to be patient with him, but I think we've been so starved of good times. I think he's going to give us enough to be patient with him. I really do. And I think at the worst, it's going to be maybe maybe 3 months of it not quite working and us having some bad results. So before Christmas anyway. But I think when it clicks, people are just going to they're going to have a ball watching it. They really are, It's going to be so exciting to watch. Like there's Celtic fans going into Tottenham chants. Oh, hang on. There's some comments. If I click on this thing, what a professional. Oh, Strasbourg Steve. Hello. Hey, here we go. I can click that up. Hey. Here we go. There we go. And now I can click this one as well. Hey. Oh, Toon.
Nice to have you here, though.
But I tell you what, Newcastle is a great example, because I've got a bit of a soft spot for Newcastle. It's where half my grandparents are from. They're from Cramlington and places like that. And they're a huge soccer mad city, or football mad city, just incredible. And they've gone through some awful times with their previous ownership, Mike Ashley, and even though they've got new owners and they're owned by a country now, it's not like they spent crazy money.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Look at that revenue up, and then they can, get the sponsorship deals and then spend the crazy money.
Yeah, I mean they will do.
Oh yeah.
You're right, Strasbourg Steve. Everyone does. Everyone seems to have a soft spot for Newcastle. Maybe it was because of a comic called Viz that was out. That always was like a humorous comic for adults that always went on about Newcastle United. But they've also had really good teams in the past when Kevin Keegan managed them, and they came this short of winning the league. But they turned it around so quickly in one season. Without a huge change in personnel. And I mean, I didn't know that Eddie Howe was a great coach before he took over, but he seems to have done a great job. And he's got that fan feeling happening, which we haven't had at Tottenham for a while. Once you get that fan feeling coming in, then I think the sky's the limit.
Hey, Paul, what's your YouTube channel titled again? I have someone that wants to tune in.
Hotspur Hippie.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir.
I don't know if I'm clever enough to put a link in the comments.
Oh, hey, he'll figure it out.
It took me
another person in Australia.
Oh right, it took me 3 goes to name it. A first name was I wanted to call it The Game Is About Glory.
Yeah.
Searched on YouTube, not taken. And then I search on Google and I see there's already a podcast called That's How Bollocks. So then I thought, what's another Blanchflower or Nicholson quote? Echo of Glory, changed it all again. Then I did exactly the same thing. I find that there's a podcast called that, so I've just called it Hotspur Hippie because that's what I am, I suppose.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's fitting. It does you justice, my friend.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know. Oh, we got 3 people watching. Hello, everyone.
Well, hey. Nice to have you guys.
So okay, so Angie's coming in. It sounds like you're getting your a few
the train.
A few juices are flowing. You know the you know.
Not just here, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh well, you know, I mean, you know, when the official announcement came out, I did have to go to a bit of a dodgy bar around the corner and, you know, get the dirty water off my chest, if you know what I mean. So
yeah.
So what's your hope for this new regime? Just the first year. What do you what do you want to see?
I think a lot of people are going to be surprised. You were saying that, you know, he has to get our players who are so used to playing defensively to get back to their attacking ways. When I think that's how these players naturally want to play. I think he's going to have an easier time getting them to play more attacking than Jose and Conte did in getting them to be more defensive, because it's just naturally the way that most of this team had come through and played throughout their careers. I think we're going to take to his tactics like a fish to water, and I think that we're going to surprise a lot of people. I don't know. I'm crazy, but I think that 4th place is possible.
Whoa, that's a bit. And if we don't get 4th, are you going to be like?
No, that's and that would be fine. I think that we'd have to get lucky. Some things would have to happen outside of our control, but I think it's doable. But I think maybe realistically, you know, as long as we're like no worse than we are this year, I'll be happy. So, you know, 7th or 8th come the end of the season, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I just want to smile. Just smile when I watch the game, you know.
Get excited for a second. Think, oh my God, we're gonna.
Yeah. I want to, you know, have those moments where I'm leaning forward, not knowing what's going to happen, you know.
Not going like this.
Oh. I mean, Taunton and Newcastle, that game, I mean, my low point of last season, I think, was Sheffield United, because I think we just approached that totally wrong.
I'm trying I might have blocked it from my memory, or jogged my memory. What were some highlights of that match?
There was no highlights of that match. It was dreadful all the way around, you know. It was terrible. But then
Sheffield, did they even play their weird? So they used to be hard to beat because they had that weird style they played under. God, I can't remember the dude's name. The guy that brought him up.
Dave Bassett was one. I mean, that was a long time ago. But
they played with like inverted. What were they called? Hold on. It was inverted. Like center backs, like their center backs would run out into like the channels. I don't know. They had a really weird system that they played recently. I mean, this was like, you know, a couple of years ago, but they were just so hard to play against because they played with this really weird style where their central defenders got into attacking positions a whole lot, and so they created an overload, and you know what I mean. There would be a numerical advantage, and we did not know how to play against them. Most teams didn't, though. They were good for a year or so there.
Yeah, they were a tough team to beat, especially on their home patch. But I mean that FA Cup game, they played their second team, and we played some of our second team, and we just didn't really give a shit about the game. But I mean, then the worst was, and this probably would have made old Steve here happy, was that shellacking we got at the hands of Newcastle, which.
They seem to do that to us.
I've been following Spurs quite a long time, and I think that was probably the worst performance I've ever seen. Just strolling around like they didn't give a shit. That was, that was horrible. So really, what I want this year is, like I said, I just want to smile. And maybe, have a bit of a cup run. I don't think Ange is a manager that will just throw away the cups for the benefit of finishing higher in the league? Because I can't see us getting top four unless a miracle happens. Maybe we might get back into Europe, but the league position to me is not something that really matters in general. Like we had a great season in 1981 when we won the FA Cup in style, but we finished 10th in the league. And for me, finishing top four is only kind of valid for me as if you're in a valid title chase and you fall a bit short and you end up top four and you end up in Europe. Whereas Spurs tend to more or less do it the other way around a lot of the time, where we're fifth, we're climbing up that way, and then the last day of the season we'll just sneak into fourth on goal difference. But we've never really been with a shout of the top honour at all. It's just been, fourth.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, bar that 1 year under Pochettino. I mean, when we got. Well, I guess it was third. Why do I always feel like it was second that year? But I guess it was. But yeah, I know what you mean. A cup would be nice. Even a conference league would have been an opportunity to win a trophy. But I mean, no European football gives Ange his time to, get settled in. The one match a week would be nice for him. So yeah, it's.
Well, it looks like Steve's getting excited about Ange here as well. I mean, Ange just, I think Ange's man management is amazing. He's like a father figure, but he doesn't get too close to players either. He's not like a Poch, full of hugs and kisses and stuff. He can be very ruthless, and he's not scared of a clear out. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen this summer. I don't know. What budget he's been given, but I'd be surprised if we start next season with no changes. I'd put it that way. I think a lot of players are on their way out, but Ange also likes giving people a second chance if he thinks their character is up to it. So,
do you think I think he's going to keep Eric Dyer. I really do.
Well, no one's perfect, are they? I mean.
He seems like the kind of guy that would see Dyer and get to know him and be like, yeah, he's a good lad. Let's keep him around. I
think you might sit down there, have a quick chat with Eric Dyer. And Eric Dyer, did you see Eric Dyer's little chat with Jose on the Amazon thing? I mean, I haven't watched the Amazon thing.
I mean, I'm sure I watched that, but I can't remember it really off the top of my head.
He... Dyer was sitting there, so what? Jose was saying, well, why aren't you in the team or something like that? I can't remember exactly. And Dyer was saying, oh, well, the previous manager made it clear I wasn't in his plans and stuff like that. Probably spoke a bit of Portuguese or bullshit to Jose, and I think he played Jose a little bit. I think Ange is going to look into those Eric Dyer eyes and just see you're nothing, mate. You've got nothing to offer me. You're just an empty shell.
I hope you're right, but I don't know. I have my reservations, but I hope you're right. I hope to God that you're correct, sir.
Well, there's talk about him giving Ndombele another chance, and
yeah, and I mean that's not the dumbest idea ever, though. And if that does happen, that has Daniel Levy written all over it. You have Daniel going, hey, could you just see if you could try to get this? I need to get some money for this guy. Could you just try to get him to play all right for one season?
I mean, why do these fuckers that own football clubs think that they understand or know anything about football? I just don't. I don't get it. You have to have a lifetime in the sport to be able to make decisions like that, and not just administration, pencil pushing. Actually, have been out there and played it. Stevie says, would you take Tyler Adams at Spurs? Well, I don't know Tyler Adams. Who's he play for?
Isn't he a fullback? Tyler Adams. I think he's American, right?
Oh, okay. Because my knowledge of football outside Tottenham is pretty bloody low. So
I don't really know. I might be wrong too. He is American professional soccer player who plays for Leeds and
There we go.
captains the U.S. national team. Primarily a midfielder, but he is capable of playing fullback or winger on either side. Cool. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know much about him.
No, I mean, well, I did notice about the US at the World Cup because I've always, and it's probably because I'm English and biased and all that sort of stuff, and what does America know about football? But this World Cup team you had, they really looked like a team that was. It was like they had their own unique style. You know what I mean? It was I can't quite put my finger on it. It wasn't like European. It wasn't like South American. I suppose you could just call it American. And it was a fairly physically strong approach they took, and it just looked like to me that they were just maybe a little bit naive, but they're getting very close to being very, very good. I think maybe give it a couple of World Cups time, and they might be up there.
Yeah, they're improving. That's for sure. It's the game has been improving as it has been probably in Australia as a whole, like from the ground up. Young kids all the way up to the national. I mean, it's been like a lot of investment and improvement over time, and agreed, Steve. Athlete, but I mean, we've become less and less that way. We used to be really just like try to outmuscle the other team and run harder and be stronger. But I'd say we rely less on that than we used to.
Yeah, I think it's because I'm sorry, I'm kind of one of those people. I've kind of changed my mind as I've gotten older and mellow. Because like 20 years ago, it would have been, what's America doing at the bloody World Cup? What do they know about football and all this and blah 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 blah. Whereas now I think, why not? Why not have the whole world embracing this sport? And it really does bring people together all over the world. I think you had the whole world cheering on Saudi Arabia. I mean, no one's favourite country, I don't think. But when they were playing Argentina and playing well against them, everyone was on Saudi Arabia's side, and that's what I like about football. You could see the Saudi fans, having a good time, and everyone felt good for them. So, I reckon more the merrier. Bugger it.
Yeah, agreed.
That's why I'm an old hippie now. Technically gifted footballers. Once we could produce these lads, they were toys. So, are there any other? We've digressed here, but why not? So the US national team. Are those players mainly in other countries, or are they playing in the MLS as well?
About 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've got a similar problem to Australia, where our league just isn't. It's not quite strong enough to, generate or keep players. That's probably the thing. If someone in Australia gets pretty good, then they're going to go overseas somewhere because, we've got salary cap and the crowds aren't big here, and there's not much sponsorship, so people do have to go overseas to seek their fortune. And is the MLS growing, or is it sort of petered?
Oh, it's growing. Steve can back me up on this one. He'll back me up here for sure. I live I live 2 hours away from Nashville, Tennessee, but they have a team.
Oh, right.
I go see them.
Whereabouts are you then?
Man, Indiana, southern Indiana,
Okay.
right on the border of Indiana and Kentucky.
Right. So, I would have driven past your house then, because one of my road trips I drove from Los Angeles to Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
And what pissed me off most about my trip was we just went into Kentucky a little bit. And we thought, well, while we're in Kentucky, we've got to have a KFC, haven't we? And it's fucking closed. And up yours, Kentucky, but yeah, it was a nice part of the world. I love going around there because I went down the Blues Highway in Mississippi down to through Memphis and Clarksdale, Mississippi, and down to New Orleans, and really had a good time over there. Loved the music there. It was okay. Slowly making some strides. And I'm right in saying you don't have promotion relegation there in MLS.
correct. Not yet. I hope for it one day, but
Are they starting to talk about stuff like that, or?
Every once in a while you hear some grumblings, and the lower leagues would certainly be for it. So yeah, there's very beginnings of talk, I think.
Yeah,
happening.
It's the same in Australia. Our top league is our A League is kind of protected, and I think they're talking about bringing a second division, and and that's what I really enjoy about English football or football in a lot of countries in Europe, where in theory you and your mates could get together and make a football team, and if everything goes your way, you could be in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And that to me is also the magic of the FA Cup. I mean, every little tiny club in the whole of England and Wales gets together and competes in this one trophy, and they have little runs, and it's a very exciting thing. There's no other real competition that has that same magic for me as the FA Cup, even though no one seems to give a shit about it these days. But if you win the FA Cup, you can validly say you're a form of champion of England and Wales, which quite something, I reckon. What was the other thing I was going to talk about here? Oh yeah, let's have a go at this. West Ham. Do you care, Colin, that they won?
I mean, no, whatever. Let them have it. Who cares? They're insignificant to me. No, I have a strong disdain for West Ham, and I don't really know why exactly. Mark Noble, I really did not like that guy.
He's
Mark
a
Noble.
cock. Isn't he a cock?
Glad. He really is. There's just something about him. He's very hateable. And so he that kind of, I guess, started it for me. And I just think I hate their dumb stadium. I hate that they think that they're our rivals. I hate that they think they're a big club, even though they get to play at some stupid, dumb Olympic stadium for free or whatever. Well, you're not really. I don't know. But whatever. They can have this. I'm glad an English team won for our coefficient. Or UEFA coefficient. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw. I don't know where I saw it. Was it on a podcast or something? Because I'd seen Mark Noble, the player, but I'd never really heard him talk much. And then I heard him on this podcast, and I just thought, oh my God, you are almost like a John Terry level of gobshite. You're an absolute wanker. Yeah. For me, West Ham winning. See, I don't really care about any other team than Tottenham, so I don't care if Arsenal win the league or not, or anything like that. I had quite a hard baptism of fire when I was at school, when Arsenal won the league in the last minute in 1989, and I was the only Spurs fan in the school. So for a whole fucking year, man, I was just eating shit. So I'm kind of immune to. It was good training. It made me a man. Because now anyone can chuck shit to me about Tottenham now, and it really doesn't bother me. But what you're saying about West Ham and their ground there, even though I don't like West Ham, I do kind of have some empathy for their fans over the way they've been dicked around by the ownership of their club. Because
they really have, yeah.
Yeah, like Upton Park, the Berlin ground there. I went there a few times. It's a fucking shithole. It's full of West Ham people for a start. But it was a proper old football club, It had roots in that community. And then, these people, the likes of Gold and Karen Brady, who's one of Alan Sugar's proteges, who earns over £1 million a year for... I don't know what these people do, man. I don't know what these people do. But they kind of made this. I don't like it the way owners can just make these decisions because legally they own the club and just do. It seems to be that they can just do what they want with it, and they sold West Ham as maybe a similar thing to what we had at Tottenham. That we'll leave this ground here that you've adored all your life, that you feel some affinity for, and then we're just going to move to this Olympic stadium, which is not. It wasn't even made for football.
That track around it's pathetic.
Oh, dude, man. Yeah, It was actually the last time I was in England was in 2012, and it was the build up to the Olympic Games. So I went there to Stratford, which used to be like a shithole, but it's been a bit gentrified now. And I saw the stadium, and as an Olympic sort of sports stadium, I thought, hey, this is kind of cool what they've built here quickly, but to play football in it, and I don't know. I think I don't know what the atmosphere is like in that ground, but I would imagine that West Ham have got absolutely no home advantage at the moment. Maybe that's why they're doing so crap in the league, because there's no spirit there. So even though I hate West Ham and I hate everyone that wears claret and blue, I still feel for that part of football history that's gone, because West Ham do have a good history. In the 60s, winning the FA Cup, they won the Cup Winners' Cup, and they had at least 3 members of their team were in the England '66 World Cup winning team. And over the years, they have had some moments. They've always been a bit of a shit team, but Trevor Brooking scoring ahead. Yeah. And Redknapp came from there. So even though I naturally hate them because I hate everyone that isn't Tottenham, right. I think the game loses something when grounds like that close. I mean, I am, even though I really loved White Hart Lane and I wish it was still there, at least we didn't move from where we are. That I just think. I mean, what's West Ham's nickname now? All I know is that their new ground is next to one of the biggest shopping centres in London now. So as far as I'm concerned, their nickname is now the Shoppers. They're not the Hammers anymore. They're Stratford United FC, and they're the Shoppers.
The Stratford Shoppers. I like it.
The Stratford Shoppers. Yeah. We're forever buying Louis Vuitton handbags.
It's brilliant.
West Ham. Yeah, West Ham. Well, someone else might say they're cool. I don't really like their fans. I mean, the fans I hate most though are Chelsea fans. I've got a whole area of Hades where I think they should go, because I don't want to get political. I've said this before on this channel, but they are the biggest bunch of bigots and hate mongers going. They're a mixture of bother boys and rich toffs, and the songs I used to hear those guys singing at Tottenham about the Holocaust and things like that was absolutely disgusting. And I've heard from other fans that I met a Bristol Rovers fan the other day, and he was telling me they played Chelsea in an FA Cup game, and it took them ages after Chelsea had left their ground to clean up all the swash stickers and shit like that they've just drawn everywhere. They're just, scumbags. And to me, West Ham have got a flavour of that going, but I think they've got a bit more history. Wet spam. That's it, man. Wow. Well, look, I've been going nearly an hour here, and you're probably getting a bit knackered. I don't know. And is there anything else you want to have a chat about? I might sort of end it there. I might come on a bit later, I suppose, because I'm just sort of finding my feet here. But thanks ever so much for putting me through my paces, clicking buttons here, Colin. It's been cool.
Thanks for having me, man. I guess I don't know. I since you're on the same you're of the same vein as I am when it comes to our affinity for and excitation about Big Ange. But why are people so hesitant about him? I don't understand. I guess it's just that they don't trust what he's done in the other, those other leagues. But man, it's hard not to get excited. I feel like the people that are getting upset about him would literally have been upset about anybody that wasn't their boy Nagelsmann.
And I don't get that one. That's the one I like. Slot, I could have kind of got, because Dutch football, and I kind of liked it when he talked. I thought, okay, I like this guy, but Nagelsmann did nothing for me at all, and his experience is bugger all.
And I think he's 57. Postecoglou 57.
Oh, God, do me a favour, man.
Up. Right? Yeah, I know. People, I have no idea what. I think he's an exciting signing, and I think that people are just looking for a reason to be upset.
Yeah, and I think there is a lot of there is a lot of snobbery in England towards Scottish football for a start, and towards a lot of other leagues in the world. It's kind of, here we go. Liam's just said exactly the same bloody thing here. Liam knows what he's talking about. Here we go. Balls down at Snobbery. I mean, you can only win what you're in, can't you? And
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've actually watched a fair bit of Scottish football because Ange went to Celtic, and Celtic, my background, Celtic could be kind of one of my second teams. And people that go on about Scottish football being, two-horse race and uncompetitive, or they haven't watched it. They haven't watched it. And there's rumours that we might be signing a couple of Celtic players, and it's the same again. Oh well, they're only good in Scotland, and there's so many good players that come out of Scotland, either from other countries via Scotland or being Scottish themselves. I mean, when was the last English manager that won top flight in football? There's a trivia question. There's a trivia question for you.
Man, I don't even know. What's the answer?
1992. 99. Howard Wilkinson for Leeds United, and that was in the First Division. First Division. That was the year before the Premier League came over. And since the Premier League, I mean, a Scottish guy has won shitloads. Alec Ferguson.
Yeah.
No Englishman has won it. But yeah, there seems to be this thing south of the border that Scottish. No wonder Scottish people hate English people so much. We're always just talking down to them and fucking them about, And I think the other angle might be because it's Celtic, which isn't exactly, a big fan of England in the first place.
I get that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just think people will be pleasantly surprised, but I don't want to. When people get all excited about him finally and realize that he's the truth, I want to be able to say, "Told you so," and you can go check my man Hotspur Hippie's channel, and you can see me talking about it.
That's it, But like I said to you earlier, I've seen a lot of people come on board pretty damn quickly, and I think a lot of the anti-Ange thing, I don't think there's that many of them now. I really don't. I think there's a few loudmouths on Twitter that think we should have got, I don't know, Julio Iglesias or whatever his name is, Enrique, or something like that, which I think would have been a dog shit appointment, playing that tiki-taka. I'm fed up with the win now managers. So I my impression is, because I don't really delve into the bowels of the internet because they're all fucking nuts.
Good. You shouldn't. Yeah.
No, man.
It's fucking awful.
Like, it's just a cesspit, isn't it?
It is. Really.
So I think there's just people there that like picking fights. So if there's someone that doesn't like Ange and someone says they like Ange, they'll just have a go, and it's like, why don't you just say you don't like Ange, but just do it over there? Then our streams never have to cross. We don't have to. So but I have seen people saying, we're above it. We're above Ange. That we deserve better, and I just don't get it. I just, look at where we are.
It's a weird mentality. That's a very weird mentality to me. It's almost like all the fans jumped on, you know what I mean, as soon as Pochettino started doing well.
What we got here? Ange, because he was unproven in Europe. Definitely wanted Gallardo. No, I wouldn't have minded Gallardo just because it sounds exotic, River Plate manager, Argentina. We've got a bit of an Argentinian history at Tottenham with, Ozzy Ardiles and Ricky Villa and Pochettino. It's I quite like the vibe of a Gallardo, but Ange was always number one for me because I'd seen him so much and I know what he could do. I just think as soon as they start seeing him in press conferences, I'm itching to see him in his first press conference. With that beautiful Tottenham Hotspur tie, Tottenham Hotspur suit, maybe a tasteful cock and ball on his chest. And he's going to start talking about bloody Tottenham stuff, Because the reports I've seen, I don't know if this is true because journalism is a right bag of old cack, but the reports I've seen are that he's actually been chasing Tottenham for the job. His agent has been up Levy's backside for months to try and get this job. And in the meantime, he's also knocked back jobs from Brighton. He's knocked it back from Leeds. You know, Tottenham was the club he wanted to go to. So I just want, you know, like what you were saying earlier, having a manager that really wants to be here. How fucking kick ass is that, man? That's half the battle. So I want to see him in a press conference, and I'm hoping he'll maybe give us a bit of a flavour why he really was so keen on this job. I mean, obviously it's good for his career and all that, but you know, why did he knock back Brighton and Leeds? They're you know, Leeds is a big club, Brighton is on the up, but he chose Tottenham. And I, you know, all we've heard from our recent managers is Tottenham shit. We've been shit for, you know, 30 years, but you know, I've won loads I've won everything. So I'm going to make Tottenham win because I'm the special one, or you know, I work hard and all this sort of stuff. Where Ange is a humble guy, and I think humility is so important in football because it is a working class game. You can flower it up all you like, but yeah, here we go. This is what Liam's saying here. Liam's bang on the money here. Look at this. I bet he mentions Bill Nick. I reckon he will. Now, he has had a bit of blowback, I've seen, from Celtic fans since he left, because he did quote people like Celtic people like Tommy Burns, who's got great stature up there, and he'd go out hitting his chest like this and getting the crowd pumped up. And some, not many, but some are saying, oh, it was an act, he's full of shit, you know, first opportunity, he's left us. And I really don't think that was the case. I think when he was there in that job, he was 100% focused on being Celtic, you know, and doing what he had to do. And I think part of their success this year was due to him getting the fans really amped up, you know, getting them really backing the team. I don't think it was bullshit at all. I think it was absolutely genuine. I saw him talk before and after the Scottish Cup final, his last game in charge of the Celtic, and you could just see in his face, man, he was torn. He was torn about leaving Celtic, you know, because I think he was attached to the place, you know, but he likes a challenge, and I think that's why he's coming to Tottenham, you know. What are you aiming from him in his first press conference? What really, you know, get your baby's arm holding an apple?
I just want to hear him being excited. I want to hear, like I was saying, he wants to be there. I want to hear it. I want to hear him tell us why, you know, tell us the visions he's got for the club. I don't want him to just tell us that he'll make us very proud or whatever. We heard from Nuno. I don't know. I think he'll be pretty articulate, and he's a well-spoken dude. You know, I'm excited. I think everyone else will be excited too. And like I said, we get to say we told you so. But
I see. I'm more of a you know, just welcome on board. You were late catching the train, but you know, welcome on board.
That. I'm gonna adopt that. I like that. Yeah, I need to be more like that. I'm gonna. That's a much better way to be. A much happier. You know what I mean? It's yeah.
Well, you know, I think this is one of the problems we've had as Spurs fans as a base, is, you know, with all the, you know, ENIC out stuff, is that their approach has been that if you're not with us, you're a dickhead and you're a wanker and fuck you and all this. And
yeah,
I think everyone's just taking their own time, because, you know, like I was saying earlier, a lot of people just want to go to a game and enjoy a game of football, and they don't care about all that ownership and political shit. But I think as it's gone really worse and bad, you know, more and more people have becoming disgruntled. But I think if you're fighting for a cause or a point of view, and then someone comes on board, don't make them feel like shit about it. Just welcome them, you know.
And I've always got this very wise point of view, my friend.
Well, I've always got this in my back pocket for some of the extreme ENIC nutters, and I'm not talking really about streamers here. I'm talking about mainly people on Twitter. I haven't really come across this as bad on YouTube streams, but the thing I have in my back pocket is, I was Irving Scholar out since 1983. I was Alan Sugar out since 1988. So you're jumping on my bandwagon. I told you so.
Boom. There you
That's
go.
It.
Tell him.
But I don't do that, man. I don't do that, you know, because I'm a peace-loving hippie. What does Liam here want him? I want to hear him manage expectations, emphasised that there's some work to do and he needs a bit of patience, but at the same time excitement at the future we can build. And that last bit, that last bit there, you know, because we kind of had a bit of that from Conte. Patient, I need patience. It's unacceptable. I need patience. But he never quite gave us something, a vision to look at, did he? It was all down, and players are shit, and you know. Whereas I think, you know, Ange doesn't throw players under the bus in public. I know that. He might say we didn't perform well, or, you know, he's like, if we get spanked 5-0, he's not going to come out and say, oh, we were brilliant. But he won't single players out, or you know, or go too hard on them. How the hell do you pronounce that place? Dope
Boy Junior.
Oh, Dope Boy. I like the sound of that, man. I like the sound of that. Get with it, man. I'll even say big up. I'll pretend I'm like 20 years younger and say, yo, big up, Dope Boy Junior.
Big up, Dope Boy.
Yeah. So we got all the downside from Conte. Like, he's even saying in his, you know, halfway through this season, patience. Well, okay, it's been 18 months, dude. Why are we playing like dog shit? You know?
Exactly.
Where are we heading with you? What are your aims for this club? I'll do something special. What's that then? What's that? Something special.
And once he got his Champions League that first season, he was like, okay, job done. Like, I've done all I can do with these guys.
He just, I've got a microphone over there. He just dropped his mic, you know. We regressed when, Liam says, we regressed when he had a full pre-season and got more signings. And that was the weirdest thing for me, man, because at the end of last season, I was all Conte, man. I was let's go.
Right, he did the impossible, yeah.
And when the signings were coming in, I mean, Richarlison, I was scratching my head a bit about, but I thought, oh well, they know more about football. I'm just some nutter on the internet. What the fuck do I know, you know? But Bissouma,
Richarlison and Bissouma, yeah.
Brilliant, Bissouma, what a signing. Jed Spence turned into shit, but somehow, you know. And when we started this season, I kind of thought, if we're in the top 4 by the time the World Cup starts, I'm thinking we could do something really good this season, you know, because if we're top 4 and we're still betting in all these 7 players that we signed that we didn't play, then you know. It just got worse and worse. Hey, John Fitzpatrick, he's coming in with the big ups. Yo.
What up, John?
What were you like behind Conte all the way there, Colin, or was there a point where you just got fucked off with it as well?
Same as you. I mean, it was when he started to become whiny and acted like he was bigger than the club that got me, you know, and that we were doing him a favor. Or no, he was doing us a favor by being there almost. You know, did you get that vibe from him? It seemed like he acted like it was beneath him that he would do it anyway. You know, like, but and the football was boring. He's stifling. I mean, for all of Mourinho's faults, he got the best out of Son, and he figured out how you do that. And that's you have him like chill out on the shoulder of the last defender or at the halfway line, and then just pump the ball up to him and have him run onto it. And with Conte would never let him have that type of freedom. You know, Conte nullified his biggest strength. I don't know. That was hard for me to watch, was just the way that he completely neutered one of our best players.
Yeah, I mean, Son just wasn't comfortable, was he? And you could kind of see, even though we had Ryan Mason, he kind of was letting loose a bit more. He was getting a bit of a stride in his step. Where under Conte, I think he left us in such a shambles, man. And I was really all for it. You know, I was hypnotised by his big, beautiful Italian eyes. You know, I thought, serial winner. Surely the board's going to give him what he wants. I mean, I should have known better than that. And like you say, this season was when he started whinging him. It was like he was trying to get sacked. And what really pissed me off about the whole thing was, right, if you don't want to do the job, why don't you just quit? Why are you waiting to be sacked just to get a bit? Yeah, of course, it's all about the lucre, isn't it? Whereas if you've got principles about this sort of thing, you bloody just sling your hook. You know, and there was all this weird stuff when he left. You know, after he spat the dummy about. He kind of didn't resign. He just didn't come back from Italy. I don't quite.
Sort of like Kane that year, whenever he wanted that transfer to City so bad, he just didn't come back from Florida. Yeah. I agree.
All right.
Like, I mean, he had a lot of bad personal things happen to him in life, and I feel for him. You know.
Well, you know, I can cut him a bit of slack for that, but I can tell you, when you get over the age of 50, you're spending nearly every other week at a funeral for someone. That's just what happens when you get older. You know, you start seeing people dropping off the twig all around you. I mean, sometimes I shake my head around. I think, how the fuck am I still here? I mean, it's not like I'm a prime athlete or anything like that. That's just what.
You look like you're in pretty good shape to me, Paul. You probably got some big guns.
I'll tell you what, man. These puppies don't walk themselves. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh,
there you go, man.
Hey, I don't want any trouble. Okay. You can just have my money, and I'll leave you be.
All right, so Liam's asking here, do you guys think Reguilón can fit into an Ange team? I remember he looked pretty good for a while under Jose. What do you reckon, Colin?
It's hard to say. I mean, we know that he likes his midfielders to kind of like get more, not midfielders, but his fullbacks to act as midfielders sometimes and like get more involved in the build-up. Is Reguilón capable of that? I mean, I'll throw that at you, Paul. Do you think so? My personal feeling about Reguilón, and this might be bullshit, is that I think we're seeing him in a better light because Sessegnon's just been so terrible. So probably compared to Sessegnon, he is a better player, but I don't think that makes him a good player. But you know, it is possible that, you know, lurking under there, I don't know what sort of season he's had on loan. I don't know if he's got much game time. I don't even know where we loaned him out to. Actually, I've forgotten. See, I don't follow anything apart from Tottenham, so general football knowledge. Yeah, he's at Atletico Madrid, right? With
Matt Doherty didn't play much.
Yeah, I believe so.
Have they re-signed Doherty? Do you know? Or probably not, have they?
That's a great question. I can look it up. I don't know.
I'm glad you've come on, man, because I can't do two things at the same time. So you're looking shit up, and that's cool, man.
See, that's all. That's what I'm good for.
Liam reckons he'll be a second fiddle to Udogie. I'm excited to look. I'm excited about Udogie.
Me too.
But we've got to see what he can do in Spurs. Well, you know, that's up to Ange, you know. Just don't want to see Sessegnon anymore. I mean, it was so mediocre, wasn't it? It just.
We were so excited for him when he came in.
I know. I mean, and at the time when at the end of last season, when you know, we're talking about who are we going to keep and who are we going to get rid of or loan, I think a lot of people, including myself, favoured Sessegnon over Reguilón.
Yeah, I did.
Which shows how much I know. Liam, Paul, you're built like a Dama Traore. Get some baby oil on those arms, man. Look,
yeah.
You know, I don't want to get demonetized and kicked off YouTube. You know,
yeah.
You go to OnlyFans / Hotspur Hippie for some exclusive action. What we got here? Reguilón's positive attributes are pace and running ability, and that he does like to get forward and try and put a cross in. I think Ange likes hard runners. Well, I mean, you're definitely right on Ange liking hard runners there, man. And Ange is someone who he often uses nearly all his substitutes, because he likes players to just run and run and run. And he'll pick the time where he sees them starting to flag a bit. No fault of their own, you know. You just get knackered if the more you're doing. He'll just replace them, and he'll often do a like-for-like replacement. So it just freshens up the team. John's asking me what happened to your other channel. John, I just had a couple of cock-ups naming it, man. You know, I'd pick a name, get it all set up, and then it turned out to be that someone else would be already using it for a podcast. So it's now the Hotspur Hippie. But thank you for paying attention to my online history, which isn't a lot, I must admit. You know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
John's a good guy. You and John are in the same country. I
think we are. Yeah. Well, John, you're over. You're excited about Ange, are you? I take it you would be if you've seen a bit of him in action around the traps. Are there any lone players, Colin, that you reckon could make the cut? Colin, sorry, not Colin. It's my cousin.
Oh. You're all good. No, I mean, if Ndombele decides he wants to do it, I think he could make the step up. But I don't think that we need to keep Lo Celso. I don't think that. No, I don't know. What do you think about the two young strikers that we have, and Dane Scarlett and why can't I think of his name?
Alfie Devine.
Parrott.
Oh, Parrott. They don't seem to have really dazzled on their loan spells. I haven't followed them super closely, but I know when I'd look at how they were going at certain stages, it didn't look like they were scoring hatfuls of goals. I don't know if they were, productive in any other way on the pitch, because I'm not really a stats guy. I just look at goals. That's the only thing that I care about. So I don't know. I don't know, man. It's so hard to judge, isn't it? Because I mean, Harry Kane was pretty naff, having a few loan spells, and then I don't know. Suddenly, he hit his football puberty and became the powerhouse that we see today.
Football Jesus.
Do you reckon? I mean, I reckon he would absolutely flourish under Ange. I did a stream with Sean on Spurs Talk Show the other night, and it was him and Jack Kanicki from Irish Hotspur, and they were talking about how could Tottenham players fit into the Ange's kind of Celtic system. And I think Sean was kind of saying that, see, as soon as people start saying 8s and 9s and pivots and things, I start glazing over, and to be honest, I was kind of winging it through that stream, because as soon as you start, I just don't know what I'm talking about. My gut feel, though, is that Harry Kane would get so much bloody service up front under an Ange system that, I mean, he managed to score 30 goals against the odds for us this season, and I think he's a better all-round player than Haaland, and I reckon under an Ange system I dare to dream sometimes, but if we get chugging along, I reckon you could be seeing like 35, maybe even 40 goals from Harry Kane.
That'd be insane. I don't put it past him, though, but he would have to hang out upfield a little more.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying this, because he's had to come back to get the bloody ball half the time, whereas we won't be doing that. We're going to be... most matches, we're just going to be all camped out in the other half, in their half of the pitch. I mean, seeing Celtic play, it was absolute madness. They'd all be up there. Even the centre-halves were up there. And Joe Hart would be like 25 yards up the pitch as well, out of his 18-yard box. And it was just crazy shit. I don't know.
I hope we bring some of that to Spurs.
Well, I think if we do that, we are going to get spanked a bit unless we buy some centre-backs. I mean, we do need to buy a goalkeeper because it looks like Hugo's going. Liam saying, only one I think could make the cut apart from Udogie and Reguilon is old Hill Messi.
Oh, I kind of forgot about Hill Messi.
Yeah, what do you make of him?
Reminded me, Liam. I don't know. Decent footballer. Is he going to make it with Spurs? Probably not. We don't seem to do well with technical little guys.
Yeah, I think Liam's talking about his physicality here. And see, I think smart footballers, they play to their strengths anyway. So if they're not built like a brick shithouse. They play football in another way that means they don't have to be built like a brick shithouse. A player I can think of straight away from our past is Ozzy Ardiles. He was a short player, but you see the way he had this. I mean, like if he would entice players into tackling him, and it was in the blink of an eye. He'd just let them get a sniff of the ball and then take it out of their reach and hurdle over them. And this was also in the days where football generally was a lot more physical. So you would have players trying to kick the shit out of him, but they could never quite tag one on him. So Hill being not the strongest player on the pitch, I don't think is necessarily the end of the story for him.
He's just got to find a way to kind of compensate for that and use that to his advantage almost.
Yeah, and I think Liam's right. He does have a bit of flair about him, but I haven't seen that turn into something. Flair's nice. It's nice to have a lit match in your hand, but unless you're chucking that at a can of petrol, then it's just a flame. It's not going to do anything. It'll end up burning your fingers. So I think if he can turn that flair into something a bit more productive, there could be a player here. Now, this is one where Liam and I are bang on the same page here. I am excited as shit about Pepe Matasar. I think we underused him. We should have played him way more than Skip last year. I think that was the conservative safety first approach, and I say safety third. Let's get Pepe Matasar. And he's a young kid, but he's already done so much in the game. He's played at a World Cup. He's won the African Cup with, is it Senegal? Is he Senegalese? I think he is.
Yeah, that is correct.
That's more than the rest of our team's bloody done. So I don't think he shrinks from the best from any occasion. Now, what I like about him, he's nice and crisp on the ball. 2 touches gone. He's running into some other space. If he sees a bit of a gap from, say, 25 yards out, he's having a crack. And I really like to see players do that, having a go, stretching themselves, taking risks.
That's the Spurs way.
So are you a bit of a Sarr apostle as well?
I think he's already got the, he can already do the business. I think we can already rely on him, so why not? Why stifle his development by not giving him the minutes? Will he fit into the way that Postecoglou plays? I don't pretend to know. I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know either. Because when I see Postecoglou's sides play, I mean, I know people are all master tacticians and stuff, but I kind of just see total football chaos and them scoring lots of goals and not letting many in. Inverted fullbacks, I kind of understand a little bit maybe what that means, but you've got players changing positions, running all over the bloody place,
Exactly.
And at the end of it, I think Celtic's. There's one thing I heard people saying that Celtic let in a lot of goals because they let in 30 goals, but their goal difference was plus 80. I mean, they scored on average 3 goals every game. 3 goals every game, and let in 1. They scored over 100 goals. It was a complete domination. So for all people,
you might be back any second. Oh, we're back.
Okay. Wait.
Yes, we made it. Yeah.
Actually, if I stay really still, maybe I'll disappear. No, it's smart. How does this virtual green screen work? How does it know that I'm here? It's a bit creepy if you ask me, but oh well. It means you don't have to see my shitty apartment in the background, so that's all right.
It's working good, man. It looks great.
Yeah. All right. So Liam's saying, oh yeah, he was ahead of Skip for me in the pecking order. Don't know why Conte put him in one week and out the next, despite playing relatively well. That game, the first game against AC Milan, where he did play with Skip in that game, but I thought Sarr held his head very high in that game. He was one of the few players that really did quite well. And I'm mystified why he didn't get more game time under. Oh, right, yeah, no worries, got you. Yeah. Bit of behind the curtain production shit there, people. You don't need to know.
Nobody knows. No one knows.
We'll keep the mystery like it's like all fucking professional. So, Yeah, I think he really did do enough to earn a place in the squad for me.
He did. And was Conte just like actively sabotaging us at the end there?
He might have been. Oh, you're getting a bit grassy knoll on me now, aren't you? But
hey, the magic bullet theory doesn't make sense.
What was a film I saw? I can't remember what it was. He said, "My theory is the no bullet theory." What?
Yeah, that's the craziest.
Yeah.
Bomb or what? I don't know.
All right, so mate, so you're thinking that Conte got such the shits with Tottenham. Not only did he try and ask for the sack in press conferences, but he also fielded a team capable of being crap on the pitch. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
he already knew he was gone. He could blame Daniel Levy for everything. Why not?
Yeah, I don't know. And that was kind of cheap.
I'm just being contrarian here. I don't.
Why not? No. Yeah. We know you don't really mean that for legal purposes, Colin. That's okay because Conte's got far more money than us.
Right.
Anyway,
exactly. He does watch the show. I've heard that he is a fan of the show.
Well, we got 4 viewers. I know he's one of them. Stellini's watching as well. Ryan Mason and Eric Dyer. Hi to Eric Dyer. Love your work, man. Love your work. I love the way you.
Great defending.
I love the way you let in 60 goals this season, you plonker. And on that note, maybe I'll end this first live broadcast. I might come back a bit later. But thank you so much for joining me, Colin. I haven't even got an outro, so I'm just going to hit the end broadcast button and it's going to like freeze uncomfortably and then vanish.
Hey, thanks for having me, oh, man. It's been
no worries, man. And thanks for your thoughts there, Liam and Steve. That helped grease the wheel of creativity. All right, folks, I'll leave it there. Come on, you Spurs! Where's the